Yeah, I like that. When I go visit my mom, right, I don't I don't plan on going there and sitting at her kitchen table having a conversation,
Mm.
right? Because it's going to go into what she's dealing with. Like, it's going to talk a lot about her psychosis. Like,
Hmm.
there's a lot of things that she believes that isn't true, right? So she believes that she just crazy things that
I mean, she
what
believes
am I
I'm
going to do? Sit
Satan,
there for hours?
so
And she believes you're Satan.
so
Listen, I mean, she does believe that the White House is coming to pick her up.
mm,
Listen, she doesn't even know who's president. She
any
doesn't care
day
about
now.
that. It's that the White House is her home, and
Uh-huh.
she owns a clothing factory in there, and that she is God, and there's lots of things there that when you listen to her and all of these things, it can be very discouraging.
Welcome to Simply 1%, where we believe that small shifts, just 1% shifts, create transformation. Big change doesn't usually happen in one big dramatic moment. It happens in the small intentional adjustments we make over time. Here we approach growth with grace for ourselves and grace for others. Meredith Richards is a licensed marriage and family therapist and communication coach. And I'm Gwendolyn Pascal, a life developmental coach and a mentor and teacher of the motivational gifts. If what you hear resonates with you, we would love your support. Follow the show, leave a review, and share it with someone who needs a 1% shift today. All right, let's get into this, simply 1% at a time.
Guys, welcome back to Simply 1%. We're doing things a little bit different this episode because some of y'all might feel like we're just sitting here going, you need to do this. And that's not what we're doing, right? We're
Oh
not the
no.
authority on your life. How Meredith says in her wonderful Meryl Streep podcast voice, we are not the authorities on your life, but we
No.
give advice, things that we've seen come to fruition in our own lives,
Hmm.
right? And we have experiences guiding people in this area as well.
Hmm.
So we want to prove to you that we're not just saying these things to say them. We're not blowing smoke up your bum hole. We're really meaning the things that we say. We take them into practice. You know how many times Meredith says to me, 1%, when we're doing the 1%,
It's so true. It's so
right?
true.
And
Oh
so,
yeah. I
mm-hmm.
mean, and these are also patterns of conversations that we've had over time with our clients, and we this is why we started the podcast. Essentially, it's like this is
Oh,
what's
yeah.
happening in our lives, in the lives of clients, and it continues to come back to us. And then these sort of sayings form: who's at your table? You have perspective, you have options, right? Be appropriate. They're all of these
Yeah.
different forms, like sentences, phrases that have come out of more than a decade of experience with us that we've used over time, and then our clients adopt. And it's just funny to hear the language that we've been using on Simply 1% in our listeners. I hear it all the time now. I don't know about you, but it's just been
Yes.
very encouraging, but
Mm-hmm.
to hear a client, or not a client, to hear a listener say, I just say thank you now. It was really hard at first, but you know
Mm.
what? Now I can do it. So it's like, yeah,
Yeah.
just say thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Just say thank you. Get a compliment, say thank you. If I walk by, my husband's like, girl, that booty be delicious. I'm like, thank you. Now, my booty's flat and I hate it.
yeah, exactly.
I'm serious. And Joe
I
goes,
know you
don't
are.
talk about yourself that way. You're my wife. Don't talk about my wife that way. I'm like, man. So I've learned to say thank you.
Yeah.
No-
There has been
Yeah.
so much lately that's come across through the platforms of just how we speak out loud about anything, but especially ourselves, and how that changes the actual composition of our bodies, especially like how our brain is wired. So you can imagine if someone is just saying these terrible words to you all the time, eventually you believe it, right? This is what we talk about with, unfortunately, trauma and
Mm-hmm.
abuse. And yet
Oh,
we are
yeah.
doing it to ourselves. And so the power of words, like also one of our one of our podcasts, The Power of Words, more than just one of our podcasts, because we really do believe in truth, and we are trying, not we are trying. That's also another saying. I said we're going to do. And this came up this past week because Gwendolyn has been absolutely frustrated and obsessed, rightly so, with
Obsessed, absolutely obsessed.
obsessed, yeah.
hmm
Yes. To a point of like, are you gonna be okay? are you
Well,
are
listen
you
to
gonna
me.
are you gonna be okay? So
hmm
she calls me. I don't know what day it was, but you called me and she said, I got it.
So,
And this is just how determined Gwendolyn is as well, which I absolutely love. She calls me after sitting for 3 hours in her lawn chair in the heat, waiting for this mole to appear. And I just cannot wait for you guys to hear this story. You're on, Gwendolyn. Go
yes,
for it.
listen, I love gardening. I love being a old woman in my garden. I love if I could wear a romper because I wasn't so sensitive to the way things feel and wind going up the romper. I'd wear it walking around my garden with my coffee in the morning. Okay. Like I picture myself that way as some woman in a romper walking up first thing in the morning, looking at all my veggies and looking at all my plants. Well, I was interrupted in my fantasy by a mole
Mm.
who was damaging my garden, who was keeping me from planting my dahlias, who was mocking me every step of the way. Guys, I would go find new tunnels, stomp them, go into the house just to use the ladies' room, come back out, and there were more tunnels. After I had sat there and watched it, it knew what to do. It knew me more than I knew it. And I was like, oh, Dusty, it. I've had it. I'd wake up in the middle of the night going, I know right now it's making tunnels in my garden and it's going to kill my plants. I'd wake up in the middle of the night thinking about this. And the only thing, I wake up in the middle of the night thinking about many things. But that's one less thing I needed to be worrying about was this freaking mole in my garden. So, and this is the thing, as much as I'm so frustrated with it, I really didn't want to kill it. I'm like, we already got the pellets to like deter it. You know, it's the castor oil pellets that they don't like the smell. I've done the coffee. You put the coffee down. We did the mole vibrator thing where it scares them. No, this thing was like, I take your castor oil, your coffee, and your vibrator thing. Sorry, I know that sounds weird. And and I give you destruction. Sorry. And I give you, there's no better way. There's no other way to say what it is. Y'all know me. It's fine. It's fine. So anyway, I was like, there's only one thing left for me to do. And so I asked myself, and I heard Meredith's voice in my head go, you have options. What are your options? Well, I could use poison, which I didn't want to do. It's just doing what it does, what it was created to do: make holes, burrow, dig, all of the things. And listen, I'm not like a vegan. None of y'all like, oh, this girl's a vegan, don't want to kill anything. That's not what I am. I love me some steak. Okay. But I don't want to kill it. And just knowing that it has little baby beady eyes you can't even see and little teeth, and it has a nose that does, I can't. I was just like, if I can just work around not killing it, what can I do? I love animals. I love them so much. So anyway, I decided I'm going to take my lawn chair. I'm going to sit here and I'm going to wait until I see movement. And that's what I did. I sat there for 3 hours in the North Carolina swamp heat. And I was like, I'm going to catch it. Well, all of a sudden, hour 3 comes around. And y'all, I see a freaking worm jump out of my soil, running, squirming for dear life. And I'm like, it's my hour. We're here, people. We are here. And I'm going to get this thing. So I get my gloves and I start digging, and it ran away so fast because it has a whole village, a whole village under my garden. And so it has tunnels that it can just scurry off to. And you don't think they're fast. Oh, they're fast when they've got tunnels that they've already dug that you don't even know about. So I'm like, oh my goodness. So I call my husband and I tell him, I'm like, you got to get home because I just tried to catch this mole and I couldn't get it. So he was coming home. And as soon as he got home, I saw movement again. Guys, when I tell you my husband got out there with this shovel, we were a team. I couldn't have done it without him. We caught it. We caught it. We took it to this greenway that's like a mile down the road and we let it go. And he was so cute. And I sat there and I thought about the plants that died because of this thing. I mean, plants that I spent good money on died, right? Because
And
their roots
and time.
and time and just concern and all these things. And I'm like, you know, I could have a different perspective here because when we caught this thing, my children, first of all, we had a whole education course on moles. You talk about homeschool. I was like, we're going to learn every darn thing about a mole, everything. So we did. And then on the way to go take the mole to this greenway to dump it out, I looked over at my son. He had this bucket, and the mole was in the bucket. And my son had these garden gloves on. My son was talking to the mole and being like, "You are cute. Oh, look at you trying to get out." And he's like talking to him. And we go to the greenway. And my son forgot his shoes, so he's bare socks. And like we're dumping them, and we go back home. And I thought to myself, I could sit here and talk about all the destruction that it caused, or I can look at it and say, my son's going to have this memory of going to the greenway with his mom and dumping the mole and talking to the mole and how cute the mole is and how, yes, in fact, they do have eyes, even though you're taught that they don't. And all of these things. And I thought about my son being so precious and kind to an animal and how I know that 20 years from now, he's going to be like, yeah, my mom one time, she caught a mole. She was crazy out there. She looked like Beatrix Lestrange with her hair everywhere, trying to catch this mole in the garden. And I just thought, I can be really pissed off at this thing. Or I can just say, the mole's doing what the mole does. He's just in the wrong location. And I need to fix that. What am I going to do to fix it? Yeah, I could get the poison worms, which I was this close. So I sound like I was like, I love him. But at one point, I was like, I'm going to kill him. So I could get the worms to put in there as bait. I could do lots of things. But could I just be patient to see if I can catch him this way? And then I had that time with my son. And all the plants that died in the process and the time wasted, I say, it doesn't compare to that moment I had with my kid.
Mm-hmm.
And it just allowed for that. And that some people may see that and be like, that's a little, but that's how I choose to see it.
Mm-hmm.
And for 4 days, I had peace. And another mole has made its way into my garden. And I'm like, Jesus is testing me and my patience. But I think that when I hear you have choices, I did.
Mm-hmm.
Could I put bait down and kill this thing? Sure. Would anybody blame me for doing it? No. Would I probably feel bad? Sure. But I chose to sit out there for 3 hours. And then I chose to have a different perspective. Yes, it killed lots of things, but it does what it does. And I had that time with my son, and I saw my sweet, precious 11-year-old son talking to this mole and letting this mole go and how happy he was doing it. And I just think it was worth it.
It sounds
I do.
like it.
One day
Yeah.
I'm going to be gone and my son's going to be like, I have these memories with my mom. The way I hollered and screamed and
My
jumped around that
mom.
yard when I caught that thing, he was like, my husband looked at me and goes, I've never seen you like this before. We've been married almost 15 years. He's like, I've never seen this side of you. And he hasn't.
Yeah, Charlie's going to be comparing stories about how crazy his mom is with other people, and like, listen to this crazy thing. Listen about this mole, and he's going to be so proud of the crazy. So what are you doing with the new mole that has arrived?
I haven't decided. I've sat out there a couple times and watched. But I feel like this one is kind of afraid of the things that we put out, the deterrents. He's not as brazen as the other one.
Mm.
So I don't know. The ball's in his court. If you want to go head to head with the mole hunter, go ahead. It's not going to end well for you.
Oh,
So
yeah.
that's just a way, and I know it may seem like something small, but it is in the small things that if you can see a different side, if you can see different angles, your perspective can shift in the small things. It can eventually, with the 1%, lead to the big things in life.
Mm-hmm.
Perimenopause. I hate it. I have a UTI every other day. But you know what? I also, in my prayers, ask God that I be here for my children at this age. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
here.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, there's some things linked to it, but I'm
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
Do I get frustrated? Yes. It doesn't mean that I just walk around like a fairy going, everything's fine, here's some dust. No, I do get frustrated. Is my hair falling out? Yes. Do I, all the things, and you know the things, but I also
Mm-hmm.
ask to be here at this season in my life for my kids.
Yeah.
And I'm being given that. And so I have to, in the moment of me getting frustrated, I'm like, I can be frustrated, but I can also see that I am very blessed to be here and experiencing this
Mm-hmm.
because I asked for it.
Yeah.
Am I going to call you and complain? Yes, I am, Meredith.
Please.
But
Please. Because if you do it, then I can do it. So it's good.
absolutely,
Goes both ways.
absolutely. Mhm. Mhm. So yeah,
Uh,
I want people to understand how perspective is huge and how I have choices. Just saying it to yourself, I have choices. What are they?
I have options. Yeah. Choices, options. And one of them is always perspective. Change my mindset. Use different words.
Mhm.
It's,
Yeah.
I know this couple right now who did a wonderful thing for a family member, and it needed to be done. And they didn't recognize the responsibility that would fall upon them going through this 2 year intense journey, getting responsibility of this family member. And as I was talking to them about it, I said, so your goal was to basically save her from the unfortunate life that she has been living. That was your goal.
Mm,
And have you done that? Yeah. Said the
yeah.
goal was not to have to take care of her physically, directly for the rest of your lives. That's what you thought it was going to take. And you were willing to do that.
Mm,
But
yeah.
let's go back into what we were saying, but you have options. Let's look at this perspective.
Yeah.
You did the thing that you wanted to do. Now, how are you going to help her live the life that she needs and also you guys need? How many times
Yeah.
do we take on these responsibilities because it is the noble thing to do? It is the right thing to do. It is what you need to do. But we don't really truly know the responsibility that comes with it or how it's going to change our lives until we're living it.
Yeah. Mhm.
Even a beautiful thing like having a child, having a baby, it's
Yeah.
beautiful. People have been waiting for it their whole lives, and here's this precious creature that absolutely changes everything, especially about a woman's body and all of that. And you're like, wait, I thought I was just supposed to love this and care for it and be so happy. And it doesn't happen
Mm,
always like that, right? It doesn't happen in the way of,
yeah.
oh, we thought we would have this child for the rest of our lives, or I thought that this child would have both of these parents for the rest of its life. So
Yeah.
we don't know. So like you say, this is where gratitude comes in as well, right? I am grateful to be here. I don't love being in this body, but I'd rather be here in this body than not be here at all.
Yep.
And also with that, we have options in how we want to take care of it, right? Like
Mhm.
And I also, here's another thing that happened this week that I has sort of been a theme, I think, is this black and white thinking of it's all or nothing. A lot of us do this. It's just sort of what we've been taught as a society, and it's kind of easy to live there, even though
Mhm.
it's not helpful
Yeah.
for us at all. So one of my clients was saying, I am not a confident person. Like, okay, I'm going to challenge that. I will be challenging that because I'm not confident in what, like in what area, like in what specific thing.
Mm.
I'm not confident speaking in front of people. I'm not confident going into a boardroom. I'm
Yeah.
I'm not confident when I look in the mirror. It's this is not a black and white statement. This is not a true or false statement. This is, and finish the sentence, right? I don't
Mm.
feel confident. I don't feel confident when. Because it's
Mm.
I don't believe you that in every area of your life you're not confident. I'm challenging it.
Yeah.
I'm going to challenge it. And in every area of your life, every time, like every developmental part of your life, you haven't felt confident. It just doesn't make sense. So we have to challenge
Yeah.
ourselves on these thoughts, on these one-liners that we have. Like,
Mm.
well, I'm just going to accept the fact that, or I'm just, actually, you weren't accepting. You were settling. You would have been settling with the mole, like, well, I guess it's just going to eat my garden, and all that work was for nothing. And I hope that I just have a
Yeah.
few. Because you could say, well, I'm grateful I have a few. I'm grateful I still have some plants left, and I hope that
Yeah.
will, you know, but you
Yeah. I
didn't.
could have. That was an option.
That
Yeah.
was an option. Yeah.
Yeah. So this week and then through my whole life, you start thinking about those times in your life where you're like, okay, what's a good perspective for this?
Mhm.
Again, it's not about avoidance.
No.
Like some of you guys had really horrible things that happened to you as a kid. You maybe had not so great parents, right? I can
Hmm.
identify with some of the things that people talk about in those areas. Like, yeah, I didn't have a mom that was mentally there growing up.
Hmm.
Yes.
Hmm.
And that was really hard. And I wanted that so badly. But I decided as a kid that I needed to then branch out and have a good community.
Hmm.
And I had youth leaders that were very much like mother figures to me.
Hmm.
I had friends that were guiding me in directions that my mom wasn't able to do. I
Hmm.
really believe that because I did not have that connection with my mom, I'm able to see motherhood in a different perspective as well. Like, for instance, one big one for me is when my children are talking, if they come up to me and talk to me, and I'm not talking about interrupting me. Everything's on our phones, right? We pay bills, the research, everything's on our phone. And if I'm doing something that is mindless on my phone and my child walks in the room to talk to me, my phone goes down. If
Hmm.
I'm doing something that needs to get done, administrative, and I know I'm going to forget it if I don't, I say, hey, baby, give me a second because I want to hear what you're saying. My phone goes down if it's something that can wait. I make eye contact and I'm present because I didn't have that growing up.
Mm,
I know how important it is to be seen. I don't
mm,
know if it would have been as important to me with my kids had I not had it.
mm,
But because I
mhm,
didn't feel seen and I didn't feel like she listened. I remember the first time standing in a kitchen with a friend, she was telling her mom something about what was happening at school, and her mom was completely responding in a very coherent way and understood everything she was saying about school. I was like, oh, so moms understand things?
mm.
It was
Yeah,
very bizarre for me. I thought it was
yeah.
so weird that her mom didn't skip a beat and knew exactly what she was. Wait a minute, she's involved? Thought
Mm,
it was so weird. And so the perspective that I have is I do understand how important it is for me to look my child in the face and hear what they're saying,
yeah.
to respond to what they're saying. Because with ADD, I can just kind of zone out and then respond, but not really be engaging. And I'm like, Gwendolyn, you've got to engage.
Hmm.
You've got to engage. And so I have to be more purposeful about it, especially with ADD. But So I'm not saying, oh, it was best that I didn't have a mom, and you guys who had a mom that was present, oh, you don't have. I'm not saying any of that. What I am saying is that was the cards that were dealt for me. So what am I going to do about it? I do have
Hmm.
choices.
Yeah. Listen,
I have
Gwendolyn,
options.
you do. And this is where the conversation, too, of expectations and boundaries come in. Before I go into that, there has been, I'm going to call it an epidemic of just cutting parents out of lives
Oh,
of their children, like
yeah,
just cutting off parents. Like, no, like too bad, so sad.
yeah. Oh,
There
I've
is a
gone
time
no
and place.
contact. Yeah.
Yeah, no
There
contact.
is a time and a place.
There's a
Absolutely.
time and a place. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Um, and I don't want to go into it very much. However, I just wanted to look at the perspective of this, that parents are fallible. They have
Mm,
so much going on. I mean, look at us in our lives,
yeah.
in our midlife, right? Um,
Yeah.
some of us were like 15 in our teenage lives when our parents were going through this, especially our mothers. And the information that we have now about what's really going on with female bodies, especially during that time when they are raising children, teenagers, like, let's look back at that, and maybe we need to give a little bit more grace. It doesn't mean that you weren't hurt. It doesn't mean that
Mhm.
you weren't forgotten at times. It doesn't mean that that you didn't experience something that was unfortunate. But if
Yeah.
we have
Mhm.
perspective, if we can change that, if we use our options of, let me just change my mindset a little bit about this. Did they do the best that they could do?
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
you know what? Your mom was really doing the best that she could do with what she was given.
She was. Guys,
And
she was. Yes.
she really
That's the
was.
thing, Meredith.
She
You're
was so
saying the right
limited.
things. She was so limited. Yeah, in today's standards, people would look at what my mom said or taught me or did, and they would say, go no contact. Look at
Mm-hmm.
all the horrible things.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But what you're saying hits the nail on the head. She did the best that she could. And sometimes people's best, yeah, does require no contact. But that's I think we do live in a society where they're like, well, that's my only option. It's just no contact. And that's kind of like the trendy thing to do is no
Mm-hmm.
contact because they don't agree with me or they don't accept my lifestyle, whatever the case may be. Okay. But I also think grace is necessary for parents, kids, teaching your kids to have grace on you and to forgive you when you fail. Listen, I homeschool y'all. There are times we're all crying. Okay. We're crying. We are crying.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to offer grace to each other. And that includes me. They have to have grace on me
Mm-hmm.
because
Yeah.
I've probably said something like, "Oh, this is so frustrating."
Yeah.
Like, right? Or I've said something like, "Why don't you understand this? Like we've gone through it." There have been times.
Mm-hmm.
There have been times that happened and I have to ask them, "Listen, please be patient with me and I'm sorry. It's not okay." And they have to have grace on me. But I think you're right, Meredith. I think we live in a culture where it's just no contact, when oh, you don't agree with my lifestyle, I don't agree with you. We have different perspectives. Again, we're not talking about the extremes. We're not talking about abuse, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I completely hear what you're saying, Meredith.
Mm-hmm. And there are stories of abuse, or you were a victim of something, right? Or abandonment,
Yeah.
or something that was really serious and you've had to struggle with and work through. And yet, there are stories of people who have worked through it on their own because their parents did the best they could at the time that they were there. And
Yeah.
now they have learned to forgive, and they've learned to have a relationship with their parent that made sense. This is the thing.
Yeah.
This is the avoidance thing. It doesn't have to be all or nothing. It doesn't have to be all or nothing.
Mhm.
And quite frankly, sometimes your parents are better grandparents. That happens. It's not an odd thing.
Mhm.
There's a lot to weigh, but like, really think about your parents and what they have done in your life and who they are, how they're made. Did they do the best that they could? And also, are they willing to look at what they did do and how it did affect you, and willing to have a conversation, because there can be a lot of ownership, especially with the desperation of wanting to have a relationship with their children. Your relationship with your mom
Mhm.
is your first relationship in life. It is.
Yeah.
It's it's one of the most unique bonds that everyone experiences. And so why do we talk about this in psychology too, of your relationship to your mother? Because it starts it all. It starts everything.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
and just the roles that your parents played in the household, or sometimes you just have to look at these things, guys, and really take some of these sayings that are like, we're not doing that. That's a perfectly fine. That's establishing a boundary, establishing an expectation. Yeah, we're not doing that. Like, I'm certainly
Yeah.
not going to participate in that. I'm not asking you
Mhm.
to change. What I'm saying to
Yeah.
you is that I'm not participating in this conversation, or I'm not participating in X, Y, and Z, because that's for
Yeah.
me. I can't do it. I don't want to do it. I don't need to do it. I
Mhm.
Boundaries are not for other people. They're for you. Like, you are the one to hold the boundary. If you and I are having a conversation and all of a sudden, which would never happen, but you were disrespectful towards me, I would say something like this. You know what? We probably need to take a time out of this conversation, because it's done for me. I can't really hear you
Yeah.
anymore. I'm feeling very activated. It's just not going to go anywhere.
Yeah.
That's me. That's a boundary, and that's for me.
Mhm.
I didn't say to you,
Yeah.
you need to stop. Sometimes I'll say, you need to stop talking to me like that. Not to you, but in certain scenarios. But
Mhm.
I could say to you, like, you need to change your tone of voice. You need to really, you're here and you need to be here. Like, I could say that. And how does that typically go? How's it typically go for you guys
Yeah.
when you're trying to establish those boundaries? What's that like for all of you? We would love to know. And I mean that. Like, does that work? It doesn't really work for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Maybe it does work for you because of how you say it, right? Or when you say it. But
Mhm.
I if I told you, Gwendolyn, how to act in this hypothetical conflict, right? You'd be like, in the heat of it, it would be like, no, I'm gonna say or do whatever I want to do. Like,
Yeah.
right? This is how I'm feeling right now. So,
Mhm.
and in those moments where we know that it's possible a conflict is coming, and conflict is necessary. It's we are not the same people. Conflict is necessary. We need to learn how to work through that. And that goes back to the parents thing. That goes back to holding on to your marriage. That can go back to many different many different places in our lives. Is this something that we push through? Is this something that we're avoiding because it's actually just right now we need to put it on pause? Maybe this is our pause, not avoidance. Is this something where it is a growing edge for me and I'm supposed to learn something from this? Am
Mhm.
I playing the victim here? Is it just easier to no contact?
Yeah.
I'm tired. I don't want to, I'm just going to let the mole do its thing in the garden. That's what it's supposed to do anyway. And maybe I won't have a garden this year. That's an option. But then you choose that option, and what happens from that? Like,
Mm.
that doesn't feel good. So, yes, there are moments in life where there might be these big issues, or just you're met with something big. And what we've talked about is pause is always good. Maybe you need to step back from it, go to your table, talk about it, gain a new perspective. I need to ask myself questions. Am I avoiding this because it's too hard? It's the hard thing to do.
Yeah.
If I had this conversation, could good really come out of it? Am I expecting other people to change because it doesn't work for me? Or am I changing this dynamic because this is what I'm deciding I'm doing now? And you can come along or you don't have to. That's an option. And these are the simple, this is why we talk about simply 1%, right? Like, it doesn't mean it's easy. I hope that you guys are seeing this.
Mm.
It doesn't mean it's the easy option. It doesn't mean it's the easy choice. It can be simple though. It's different, but choose simplicity. And the all or nothing thinking, look at that sentence as it's not finished. I have a hard time getting along with my parents because at times, blah, blah, blah. So there are times that work. There are times like you can hang out together.
Right.
Being on vacation with your parents, some of you, it's like we just are all relaxed. There's no stress. It's really like once or twice a year we hang out together. Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe
Mm-hmm.
we don't do holidays anymore because it just doesn't work for us. But we'll see each other on, at a baseball game for one of the kids, right? Like we don't need to make things more difficult for ourselves. We don't. We don't. Find a way to make something work rather than not. Just
Mm.
look at the things that you can do instead of the things that you can't do.
Mm-hmm.
What are the possibilities? Not what is impossible.
All right, quick pause before we keep going. If you're enjoying this conversation, we want to ask you for a small favor. Go ahead and follow the podcast and leave us a review. Those reviews actually tell us that these conversations are reaching and helping people. And that matters to us because doing this takes time out of our day, our week, and sometimes it takes our sanity. So if something you've heard here has helped you think differently, have a better conversation, or even just feel a little less crazy in your life, take 10 seconds and leave us a review. It helps the show grow and lets us know that it's worth continuing. Plus, Meredith says leaving a review is a healthy relational behavior, and I'm pretty sure therapists know things. And honestly, it's a nice way to say keep going without having to send us baked goods, although we accept those too. All right, now back to the conversation before we get off track, which is completely typical of us.
Yeah, I like that. When I go visit my mom, right, I don't plan on going there and sitting at her kitchen table having a conversation,
Mm.
right? Because it's going to go into what she's dealing with. Like, it's going to talk a lot about her psychosis. Like,
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of things that she believes that isn't true, right? So she believes that she just crazy things that
I mean, she
what
believes
am I
I'm
going to do? Sit
Satan,
there for hours?
so
And she believes you're Satan.
so.
Listen, she does believe that the White House is coming to pick her up.
Mm.
Listen, she doesn't even know who's president. She
Any
doesn't
day
care about
now.
that. It's that the White House is her home, and
Uh-huh.
she owns a clothing factory in there, and that she is God, and there's lots of things there that when you listen to her and all of these things, it can be very discouraging. So I
Mm-hmm.
don't go there planning to sit at her table and talk to her.
Mm-mm.
What I do plan on when I go there, okay, do you want to go get a Coca-Cola somewhere? So we spend time walking, ordering, sitting there for 5 minutes, drinking the Coca-Cola. Do you want to get lunch? Let's go there. Do you need to run any errands? I can take you to the grocery store. I can take you to the bank. Right? She lives hours from me. So it's not very often, but I don't ever plan on going there and just sitting at the table
Mm.
because I have options.
Yeah.
Okay, mom, you need some clothes? I'll take you to the mall. We'll go do that. But I always have a plan before I go
Mm.
because I know I can't just sit at her house.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's a very hard thing to be around somebody with paranoid schizophrenia.
Mm.
So that whole you have options thing. An option for me is not to not see my mom. Like I'm not going to be like, well, I'm never going to see her again. I'm just going to cut her out of my life. That's not an option I'm willing to take. Like I'm just not. So what are my options within the options of seeing her?
Mm-hmm.
Right? And okay, so my children are not allowed to go see her without my husband present. Because if for some reason she gets into a manic state or she lives in Baltimore where it's not very safe, So my husband has to be present.
Mm-hmm.
So what does that look like?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What are our options?
Yeah. How do we make it
Yeah.
work?
Yeah.
How, and we continue to make those decisions of how we make something work until it doesn't, and until you
Right.
really can't anymore, or
Yeah.
until you're the only one doing it. But you
Mhm.
are the one doing it with your relationship with your mom, because she doesn't have the capacity to do,
Yeah.
to come to you. So if you
Mhm.
are going to see her, you're going to go there. And this is the nature of what the relationship is and what's going to happen. And goes with the
Yeah.
pre-gaming that you talk about. I just need to know,
Mhm.
I know what to expect. You are not asking her to be somebody that she's not. You're not hoping that
No.
maybe she's changed a little right now. You're not hoping
No.
that maybe today's the day that she won't have this God complex or this story. It would be a bonus or great
Mhm.
if you didn't have to hear about that and the medication is like
Sure.
perfect
Yeah.
and great. But that's not your
Yeah.
expectation. That's not what you're not going there with a hope and fingers crossed and a prayer and a wing and all those things like they say, like a wing and a prayer.
No.
You're not.
No.
And this is the thing, guys. Go into it with what you expect. And if it doesn't
Mhm.
happen, it's a bonus and a blessing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing is I remember when I was 7, 8 years old, there were several times coming home from school and I thought to myself, I wonder if she'll be able to talk to me like a normal person today.
Mm.
And I sometimes would get excited when I would go home and then it wouldn't be happening and I'd be sad about it. And then at some point in my life, I realized that's not fair to her. Like I'm
Mm.
putting that on her and it's not fair to her.
Mm.
And because that's not available.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to alter my expectations.
Mm-hmm.
And once those are altered and correct, then I can look at my options.
Yeah.
Because if I'm going into it with unreasonable expectations, my options aren't going to match up. They're just not.
No. And let's look at that. Why do I want a person to be someone that they're not, that I want them to be? Why do I want them to
Yeah.
change? And why do I want them to be someone that they can't be? I think that's what I'm trying to say.
Mhm. Yeah.
Because it would be better for me. I would feel more
Mm.
comfortable, more secure. You wouldn't put me in an uncomfortable place where I had to say the thing that needed to be said, that I had to hold my boundary. I would just love it if you could change, because that would be so much easier for me.
It's pivoting, isn't it? It's pivoting when you realize
Mm-hmm.
that things aren't really going to go your way. Listen, a mole is a mole. Moles are stubborn. He's getting some good old grubs in my garden. I put the mole vibrator in there. I put
I
the
can't with
the
that. I
pellets
can't.
in there.
I can't. I can't.
I did all the things. I did all the things besides kill him. But you know what? A mole is a mole. I went in there
A mole is a mole is a
hoping
mole. Mm-hmm.
that that mole would not be stubborn and that these things, and I read reviews, people were like, it didn't do a thing in my garden, but I was hoping maybe this guy was different. He's not.
Mm-mm.
But I went in there knowing, well, hoping that he would respond to those things. He didn't. Then the realization that he was very stubborn and this is what I was dealing with. And it was either me catching, it was me sitting there for 3 hours or death to him. Those were the options at this point because he was stubborn. Me expecting my mom to be normal in those situations is like me telepathically telling this mole, I need these things to scare you and make you be on your way so I don't have to go to another option.
Yeah, I'm going to need you
It's
to respond to
unrealistic.
this and react to this
I need you to
situation.
respond to this.
Yeah.
Right.
So it
So
makes it
you
easier for me,
realize,
please. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
right. So you realize who the person is and then you pivot.
Mm-hmm.
You realize you can't expect this person to be what you would like for them to be, and then you pivot.
Mm-hmm.
Then you look at your options. You have to have realistic expectations.
Yeah.
So I went into it knowing these things may not work and I might have to pivot again. And that's what you have to do in life.
Yeah.
period.
You can't expect the mole to not do the thing it's made to do.
I can't expect Carmen not to try to perform magic when I'm around. I mean, it's just the way that it
Look,
is.
you can't expect us to be normal. You can't
No.
expect us to take the quirk out of it. Like
Right.
you got the quirk or you don't. Like that just doesn't go away.
Yeah.
We're
No.
made with
And
ADHD.
exactly.
You know?
Mhm.
Like these are
Yeah.
the things. And look, I'm not going to I wasn't looking for a partner who wasn't going to understand that and wanted me to be something different. You know, they like the excitability, they like all those things, the spontaneity and like the problem solving and like whatever's going on up here. And then when it doesn't work for them because I might be late or I'm exhausted from my own, I can't shut off my brain or my body, or I can't put a meal together in 20 minutes like they can. And you know, when you're in these relationships, someone with ADHD or add whatever it is there, and they are asking you to fight it and just to take it, they want to take it away from you by telling you what to do with it. You gotta look at that.
Yeah.
You have to look at that, because are you doing as much as you can to work with it, right? Are you taking care of yourself, you know, in sickness and in health? Say if you did make a commitment to a person who is feeling this way and you're feeling this with this person, are you doing everything that you can to be an available partner and also you feeling like your best self? Are you doing that first, right? Second, how much am I teaching? In the way of like, this is me, this is what I'm learning about me. I would love a little bit more patience here. I also, is there ownership? Gwendolyn, you actually have a really good example of this in when you understand or you learn that you have something, right? And what you do with it. And I'm just going to set it up in that way because I really loved what this kid said.
Yeah, I have. So with me having ADD and my daughter having ADD, I always say, yeah, we have ADD, but it's not an excuse. We just have to do things differently. Don't give me the excuse of I have ADD. Yeah, there's some things you're going to be like, ooh, yeah, that was because of the ADD, but what can I do differently? So I accidentally let it slip to a friend of mine that her son, I've mentioned it before that her son has ADD, but I didn't know he was around, and he heard me say it to her on the
And she
speakerphone.
agrees, by
And
the
he was like,
way.
what?
She
And
agrees.
she agrees. Yeah.
Yeah.
She agrees because she has it herself. And so he was around. I didn't know. And she was like, oh, he's right here. I went, you got to tell me when he's around. And she was like, I couldn't get a word in edgewise. And he heard it and he was like, She said, well, later he had said to her, you know, I do have this. And essentially, in his own words, like, it makes sense. And I'm glad that I know. I just have to do things differently. Because, and to learn that at such a young age, this is what I deal with, but how do I do things differently? That's empowering to me.
So empowering. And you know, another one of my sayings is don't do it better, do it differently. Don't be better, just do it different. Be different, you know? Do it differently, be different, change a variable. But this whole idea of like, you got to be better. Well, a lot of us think that doing the same thing, but more of it, or working harder at the same thing that we've been doing, should make us better. No. And that's just kind of what we're taught in our society. And unfortunately, where does this lead? I'm not good enough. Yes, you are. By the way, everybody out there, you are. And that's why, again, we have simply 1%. We all have value. I hope we're normalizing all of these aspects of life for you and how we were taught to look at ourselves and the world. And that's one of the things that Gwendolyn and I really are passionate about and bringing to you is there are other ways to see yourself. You are good enough. You're just not good at everything. And you're not going to get it right the first time. You just won't. And you know what? If you do get it right the first time, God bless you. That might be your talent. Go for it, you know? Like, but it's just,
Mm.
we talk about this too, being kinder to yourselves, but just recognize you are enough, you have value. Just do something differently.
Yeah, it's about managing your expectations. We say that about a bunch of other people. Like, we're like, oh, manage your expectations before you go into the situation. Manage them with yourself.
Mm.
For you to expect me to sit down and get a project done in one go, I've got to manage my expectations because I can be really hard on myself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And as much as I talk about asking the quadriplegic to walk,
Mm.
right? And you're asking someone to do something they're incapable of or they don't want to do, either one,
Mm-hmm.
then it's the same thing for me. If I'm setting myself up for failure in that way of you are going to act like you're neurotypical, meaning you think the way a lot of people think and being able to think structurally and getting something done in a timely manner and
Linearly.
things make sense to you,
Mm-hmm.
linearly, all of these things. If you do that to yourself, Gwendolyn, you're going to set yourself up for disappointment because you're asking yourself to do something. You're not managing your expectations.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, the way I do something, it's not worse than how they do it. It's just different. And that's what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
I've got to manage my expectations and know that I'm just going to do it differently. It doesn't have to look like the world, and it can't look like the world. I was just working on my children's book today, and I was like, Gwendolyn, you've got to manage your expectations.
Mm-hmm.
I've been so disappointed with myself for not working on this. I'm like, you've got to manage your expectations. You're basically I can't ask a quadriplegic to walk. I don't work that way.
Yeah.
Stop telling yourself to work that way.
Mm-hmm.
You got to do it differently.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, your approach. That's the thing that like
Yeah.
always just sucked about school for both of us. And
Mm.
I mean, I can speak for me. It sucked. I mean, that's why I left high school early. I just couldn't do it anymore. The things that were more important to my peers were just not important to me. I was like, there's so much more to life than this.
Yeah.
I'm a terrible, terrible test taker. So I figured out a way to kind of work through life and choose a project-based learning situation and a place where I didn't have to take all of these tests or even a test to get in because it that did not
Yeah.
measure what I knew or what I was capable of. And that
Mm-hmm.
did limit me. That limited me to many different colleges or opportunities that I could have had. Um,
Yeah.
but I still chose to go to college and figure out a way to do that, and I'm glad that I did. And then to
Yeah.
grad school. I mean, I also found a grad school where you didn't have to take the whatever they call it to get in, and I could do an interview and I could write an essay, and it was a really hard interview. It was a group interview with the professors and then
Mm.
an individual. It was really tough to get into. We had a very specific cohort. It was a tough school in all ways, but it was exactly how I wanted to learn and what I needed, and it's really how I grew. I'm glad that I didn't let how most people can do these things, right, limit me. I figured out how to still
Yeah.
do the thing that I really wanted to do. And I'm glad that I did. I'm really glad that I did. So many good things came out of all of that. And also, I I didn't want to have to pay for school. And anytime that I went to school, that was always, I hate debt. As you know, like I
Yeah.
work really hard and so I was a nanny. I worked for a family who helped me pay through grad school as I worked for them. It was like a trade-off. Or I worked for a family that I got paid as well as like a live-in nanny and didn't have to pay for my living expenses, so I could pay for school. Or I signed up for scholarships and grants, or I did what I needed to do. As with someone with ADHD, that is not easy. But
Mm.
finding someone who does find something like that easy and creating conversation with them and asking them for help, which some of us don't find easy, but it's necessary. I got where I got to my goal. I did not
Yeah.
start paying for rent in my life until I moved to California, until I moved to Menlo Park. That was the first time I truly
That's craziness.
paid rent on my own for my own apartment. And I was 30, I don't know, 30-ish years old, I think. Yeah. Up until that time, like I did pay for rooms in apartments during college, but it was usually I bartered, you know. And I look back at that one day and
Mhm.
I was like, oh my gosh, all these things that I made happen that many people would think that it wasn't possible, um, because I just asked. And then now, here I am in my life, and there's so many things that I want to do, and I I can't get out of my own way.
Yeah. Yeah. You've been thinking this way
Mm-hmm.
for a very long time of what are my options?
Mm-hmm.
What can I do?
Mm-hmm.
And there are people who like you who think that way, but most of us don't. Most of us have to teach ourselves to say, now stop,
Yeah.
ask yourself the question,
Mm-hmm.
what are your options?
Mm-hmm.
I hope you guys are remembering what we're doing in this episode. It kind of looks like we're jumping around, but we're not. We're talking about how these things that we have spoken about have been applied to our lives,
Mm-hmm.
what we're doing in our current life, what, the unreasonable expectations,
Mm-hmm.
right? I look at my shirt. That was one of my things. I went to Goodwill. I was like, heck yeah, I want a shirt with a mountain on a
I
Bronco on
love
it.
that. I don't know
Does
if
it
I've
fit
ever
all the
seen that.
way? No, it doesn't fit all the way. It bothers me. It drives me crazy. I knew that buying it. I love the print. The fit's
Love it.
awkward. When I put it on, do I ever put it on going, oh, it's not going to awkwardly fit? Nope. I put it on knowing that it's going to bother me a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But I love the print, so I'm going to settle for that,
What's the
right?
story behind
Even down
that?
to the littlest things.
When'd you get that? I love it.
Goodwill.
But
Hmm.
when? I've never seen
Oh,
that.
yeah. Yeah. It's because I don't wear it very often because it's a little awkward when I raise my hand and it gets to right here and I'm like, And,
Oh.
but it would be unreasonable for me to put this on and go, oh, I bet it'll fit right this time.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
It's not.
Mm-hmm.
You bought it because of this, but you knew every time you wore it, it was going to be awkward. Don't go into it putting this on going, it might be different today. It's not. Your
Right.
arms have not become shorter. You need to have reasonable expectations.
Sometimes
You
you got to
settled
take your
because you
pants
love
off.
this.
Yeah.
Sometimes, listen, you settled because you love this, but the fit's always going to be weird. And that is something you're willing to do because you love the print so much.
You accepted it.
It's like that in our lives.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it would be unreasonable for me not to.
Mm-hmm.
Go, I'm going to put that on. I'm going to feel a little awkward today. That's my decision. That's my choice because I have other options. And here we go. Here we go. Down to the smallest things.
We've definitely tied a lot of our principles and messages, slogans, mottos, phrases that we've used in all of our podcasts. There's a thread of this language. We need to create a glossary, I think, for ourselves and for you guys of here's what this means. And it's not because you don't get it, but like seeing all of it together in one place would be great because it's like, oh, here, many times people say, I don't know what to say to this. I don't know how to look at this. We're telling you. But we don't tell you exactly how to do it because we're not you. I'm not an authority on your life. I cannot change your lens. You have to do that. So here are the things to think about. Change your perspective. Change your expectations. You have options. Who's sitting at your table? We're not doing that. Boundaries are from me.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. And, I might be putting it in, I'm not a simpleton, but I'm putting it in simple terms about my shirt. But you have to look at it in your life and go, yeah, I married the guy who wasn't very motivated in his career. He was okay with working the job that he's working, making what he's making. And for some reason, when I married him, I expected him to be different. I expected that to change. But I knew who he was. I knew it wasn't going to fit, but I liked what was on it. So, but every day, you're walking into it with unreasonable expectations.
Mm.
But you chose that.
Mm-hmm.
It's not their problem.
Yeah.
It's something you've got to work out within yourself. I settled for that because there were other great things about it, right? And so
Mhm.
now if I'm wanting them to change, so I'm telling you something simple about my sweatshirt, but it applies to every
Yeah.
area of our lives.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Every
I
area.
love how you did that, Wendelin. You know, like it's just such, you're so great at illustrations, and that's how our listeners remember what we're talking about. These illustrations. Of course, you're going to remember the sweatshirt, right, guys? What is your visual? What is your illustration that will help you hold on to any of these principles that we've been talking about for the past months and that we brought to you today? There's something that you can hang on to. We know there is, because we've seen it work in our own lives. We've heard it from you and how it's working with you. And these are just great reminders. Gwendolyn and I just were talking about this. Is why we did this episode today. Like, we need these reminders as well, all the time, all the time.
Yeah.
It's a practice.
Yeah. So we're actually going to be doing more episodes like this, where we're going to take some of the things that we've been talking about and we're going to show you how we've applied them in our lives, our day to day, our, the people in our lives around us, what they have learned from this. Because one of the things that we have to remember is a lot of times we get these concepts and we're like, wow, that's really great, but we haven't applied them yet. We'll say them and we'll say them and we'll say them, but we haven't applied them. But then when we start seeing other people apply them, maybe they go, oh, this is an area that I could apply it to. And that's our goal, is just so you can see it, hear it, and say, okay, so what is an area that I can apply? So, sure, I can sit there and listen to someone talk and I can write down, ooh, that was good, and write it down. But that's all I've done. And I can regurgitate it. But I want to do more than write it down. I want to apply it. And so that's why we're doing these episodes.
Yeah. Well said. Well
said, girlfriend.
There's nothing really else to say.
I'll let y'all know about what's going on with Mr. Mole, because I got 2.0 coming up.
Listen, and I recorded our conversation. I just want to let you know, I videoed our conversation when Wendelin called me about the mole. It's like, gotta get this on tape. So
yeah,
with Wendelin's permission, I'll add some clips to our social media platforms. Be looking for it. Yeah. And about our social media platforms, if this really is working for you and you appreciate what you're hearing on here and just you want to share this with someone else, please do. That helps us out a lot too, just to keep going, not only just for validation and encouragement, but also just physically to keep going with this and on here. And Wendell and I really would like to make this a big part of our lives and figure out how to do this as our careers. So any support from you would be great. A review, reaching out through our social media pages, giving us the stars that we deserve, all of those things. We'd really appreciate that from you. All right, guys, have a good week.
Thanks for joining us on Simply 1%, where we truly believe that small shifts over time create big change. If today's episode resonated with you, we'd love for you to follow or subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode with someone who might need it. Your support helps us keep the conversation going. Make sure you connect with us on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. Until next time, have a great week.